When did it begin? How do we, I or you, know? A young trans woman calls into James O'Brien and says the transgender Ishtar of ancient Mesopotamia, goddess of war, sex, and wisdom, what a combination, was also revered as a prophet. It is said, and she drew great encouragement from this identification with the goddess Ishtar. It is said that all Native American societies Europeans encountered acknowledged 3 to 5 genders. All. I don't know anyone who knows these facts to be facts. There will be evidence, but it is all in the interpretation, is it not? They are stories or myths that possibly speak to a more blended, even wider past than we have been led to believe by believers. The willingness to believe in what we choose to believe, what we give primacy, and we believe what we need to. No more, no less. An archaeologist will say the Bible holds no historic realities. Still, we believe in God, gods, or science. Doesn't matter. It is the need to believe that counts. The only trespasser here, it seems, is the one who says, maybe, could be, who knows? The story I have absorbed, is that all kindnesses are familiar and tribal, that if we are good at home, we might extend this generosity to strangers, usually because we have been told it is a good thing to do and to be seen to do. It is not necessary to find anything beyond sectarian in our stories because we don't behave that way today. Somebody will reasonably say that we always only want to be with our own kind. To be kind to our own kind. We know, therefore, we trust. That is the myth, because we do not do this at all. Know nor trust. But it is the presumption that were knowing and trusting to be real, they would be confined to tribes and would not be today, because we've changed. I have already wondered if the God is a common dream we have, some of us have, of a caring father figure, a universal dream that the great prophets and priests of history can adhere to, can elaborate on, a common impulse. It sure looks that way. We know already that I am not inclined this way, that I do not have this dream. And we also know that I am odd, so no philosophy can be found here. I cannot say that, well, folks are like this because I'm not a folk. Though I love folk, I do. I sense much strife lives in our communities because for the sake of safety, we assume a tribal oneness. As I see these assumptions at work, they look pretty crippling, not doing at all what they are famed to do, and the young man, the young woman above is released to know that she has a deity to identify with who was honored in the past, but would not be today. There's a lot of fuss about identity politics, while simultaneous fuss is made about ancestral homelands. I don't know, you tell me. We should know what that is. We should know it is deadly, and one day we might grasp how limiting identity can be. We are lumbering out of a dark age. I think, in my opinion, all 8 million of us are in a confusion, desperate for something to believe in, since the big systems are looking more than a little tawdry. Read Deuteronomy. We seem to be very needy of some new absolutes as the old ones are exposed. I guess a vacuum has been created as the spaces are vacated. God, for instance, was definitely wrong about women. Sorry, he is and he was. So he's fallible. We weep, though not I. I step aside when that bus comes barreling down the road. There are more things in heaven and earth than can be dreamt of in a bedsitter in Surbiton. Still, there is no more likely place for the dreaming. It was an old Hitchens joke that the tribe followed Moses into Sinai And up the mountain he went to return with the 10 most obvious commandments imaginable. And no one of the tribe was surprised. No one slapped forehead and thought, coveting my neighbor's wife causes strife, so I better knock it off. What a revelation. The point was that the Lord had said the obvious and threatened punishment. Maybe because Ishtar was around at the time, was worshipped as an idol, and that clearly colorful mix was not what a sober, hard-working community should be thinking about. I'm pretty sure I'd have been an idol worshiper of old. I would have been smitten. I think we see this today. Alternative lifestyles have been proscribed for a couple of thousand years, vigorously and homicidally by the monotheisms. The seculars have stepped in and said, oh, it's okay. And so the old God people are alarmed at the idol worshipping going on all around us today, from Elvis to Tupac. And they are the Republican Party. Narrowness had its charms, rigor its upside, but they are lethal too. Finally, I think this Puritanism and the returns to it over the years, imagining against all the evidence that it works as a way of living, has saturated our self-knowledges with toxins. We are Ishtar too. We are 5 genders. We are more things than were dreamt of in their philosophy. And it's high time we got busy exploring these selves instead of cleaving to the invention of patriarchs. We should be creating societies where all this difference can flourish.